unite, and we need to take our country and put it in the right direction. With this election coming up Tuesday, so the way I found this up the government was through checks and balances. 3 branches of government with the ability to check the other. And they figured that would be a way to keep the power in the hands of we the people. We could vote out the head of the executive branch, would probably be the president, correct? And we have the legislative branch that should be keeping an eye and checks and balances on the president. The independent branch is the judicial branch, which depending on what level is elected and unelected. What happens when 3 branches of government are all working together? Or a better question right now would be to ask, what happens if these branches become compromised? What happens if the vote becomes compromised? Because Tuesday is a very big election. Right now, the country's going in the wrong direction. Most people will agree. So, with most of the people in agreement, you would think there would be a big change coming in, and calling it the big red wave is coming. People are going to go for the GOP. Me, I don't belong to any party. I'm one of those people in the middle they call the independents, that they claim we sway all the votes. Well, we're going to find out Tuesday. But remember now, the checks and balances go down to the branches of government. The branches of government don't check and balance itself. Our founders were wise, insisting on putting in the Bill of Rights into our Constitution. And that put the final checks and balances, like I've been telling you every week, in the hands of we, the people. With that being said,
thanks so much for coming on. What do you make of all this?
The only way we can look at it, Tucker, is that we haven't had in 90 years the left seize the control of government, and they have the Congress and the executive branch. And it's not that we, it's not that we have a border that's open. They blew up the border. It's not they're letting criminals out. They blew up the criminal justice system. It's not that they shut down ANWR. They blew up the whole idea of self-sufficiency in energy. And when you ask them about it, they won't defend it. They won't say, well, we got 3 million illegal aliens. Isn't that great? No, they don't talk about it. And they won't change. They won't say, well, let's build, 100 miles of the wall, or let's reopen Keystone. So all they do instead is they have a mantra. It's a trifecta. They said, if you're going not to vote for Democrats, if you don't vote for a Democrat, you destroy democracy. And every woman in the United States has a constitutional right to have an abortion to the last minute before birth. And Donald Trump and his supporters, half the country, are fascists. The only good thing out of this toxic 2 years that we've endured, we lab rats from these mad scientists, is that in a weird way they brought people together, Tucker. There's a new ecumenical movement of African-American males, Hispanics, and the white working class that detest these bi-coastal elites. Yeah. And they're starting to look at class concerns rather than these racial differences. And just the antipathy toward these left-wing elites has created a consensus that I haven't seen in my lifetime, but I think we're going to be shocked next Tuesday when it roars. It's going to be a mouse, it's going to roar, and they're not ready for it, and that's why they're panicking. They don't know what to do.
I think I've been a coastal elite my whole life, and I could not have more contempt for them, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So you think, just to bottom line it for us, since you're a historian, you think this will be a realignment next Tuesday?
I do, and I think we paid a hell of a price to put up for 2 years with this insanity, but there will be some good out of it because people saw in the raw nihilism and socialism, and what they saw was ugly and they don't want any part of it, and it's going to bring people together that no one ever would imagine have common class interest. And it's going to be a revolt against these, as I said, these bi-coastal, snarky elites. Nobody likes them, and then we're going to find out on Tuesday just how much they don't like them.
Oh man, you're making me happy just saying that. The great Victor Davis Hanson, thank you so much.
Tuesday, this is how important it is. You got to get out and vote. You've got to give the GOP a chance. Evidence is all in. China's a problem. China's a major problem. And we have these other organizations. They're all playing each other. But the ones that are going to lose are going to be we the people if we don't make a stance. Give the GOP a chance, and then we'll see what we the people have to do from there on in. But be prepared for anything to happen on Tuesday. Doesn't matter which way the election goes, I think we're going to see a problem. Because this cannot continue the way we're going with this compromised Biden administration. And shall they get, if they get put in check and the red wave does go through, and it's not compromised by the cyber hacking, who controls the back door to the back door controls everything. So think about this. They're profiting, they're inflicting pain and suffering on the human race. Suffering, why? Why would any human being want to do that? For power and control. With that, like I said, get out and vote. And we'll probably see you for a quick one next week if good Lord willing and the riots don't overtake our streets. Keep in mind, it's your right to stand up against tyranny. And here's your defense. Good night.